Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as well as a lot of other information as well revolving this entire space. Because right now, it is so crucial to focus on what the elites are doing, what the elites are planning, and what they have been planning for years and years and years. And now their plan is in plain sight. The problem is that 99% of the public population is distracted at this current moment in time. Now, with that being said, I do hope everybody's out there having a beautiful day or a beautiful night, or if you guys are out there in the world. I want to first start off with this video here from BlackRock CEO Larry Fink. This got posted by Radar Hits on May 2nd, and we do see substituting humans for machines is going to be far easier in countries that have declining populations. It's over. Now, before I actually play this video, for those of you that are unaware of this, which you guys should all know this by this point, BlackRock is one of the largest asset management companies out there. They own a very large percentage of pretty much everything that you can think of. And also, they are a major partner of the World Economic Forum, which is this organization. It's a private organization that has been for the longest time really kind of pushing specific agendas and really kind of pulling the strings around what happens globally. We do know this from pretty much all of the major events in history for the last roughly, 3, 4, 5 decades. Now, with that in mind, let's dive on in. Let's listen closely to this video, and then we will talk a little bit more about this.
I could argue in the developed countries, the big winners are countries that have shrinking populations. Okay, that's something that most people never talked about. We always used to think shrinking population is a cause for negative growth. But in my conversations with the leadership of these large developed countries that have xenophobic immigration policies, they don't allow anybody to come in, shrinking unemployment, shrinking demographics, these countries will rapidly develop robotics and AI and technology. And if the promise, I didn't say it's going to happen, but if the promise of all that transforms productivity, which most of us think it will, we'll be able to elevate the standard of living of countries and the standard of living of individuals, even with shrinking populations. And so the paradigm of negative population growth is going to be changing. And the social problems that one will have in substituting humans. And so for those countries that have rising populations, the answer will be education, and so rapidly develop. For those countries that do not have a foundation of rule of law or education, they're going to be left. That's where the divide's going to get more and more extreme. And unfortunately.
Now, beyond this video, right, we know back in 2019, Elon Musk actually warned us ahead of time beyond what we are now hearing and what we are now seeing around AI. Now, again, this is 2019. I did include this clip in recent videos about roughly 2-3 months ago, but I'm bringing it back up because now we are starting to see a lot of major discussions happening around AI and even around universal basic income. Now, where does crypto play into this? Where does gold, silver, things like that play into this? Well, listen, I do believe at some point in time, crypto is nearly going to be illegal to hold. How are they going to do this? Well, they are going to regulate retail out of this space, or at least try their hardest to do so. They are already attempting to do this. Self-custody is being targeted heavily. There's a lot of things that you need to focus on. Now, I do have a few things that I have opened up that I'm actually going to talk about in terms of CBDCs with crypto custody. But beyond that, right? Remember that crypto and also precious metals is a hedge against things like this. I do believe that crypto and precious metals will be extremely valuable during a time where we start to see universal basic income becoming a reality, and really kind of this new system that is pretty dark rolling out. Because again, I've talked to you guys about CBDCs not being a good thing. They are happening, they are becoming a reality, but they are not a good thing. The same can be said about the AI boom. AI is replacing workers. All of a sudden, all those workers are out of a job. How do they, go out and live a life? How do they afford things? Well, that's why universal basic income will become a thing. And this is Elon Musk saying, we need universal basic income. Check this out.
There will be fewer and fewer jobs that a robot cannot do better. Okay. What to do about mass unemployment? This is going to be a massive social challenge. And I think ultimately we will have to have some kind of universal basic income. I don't think we're going to have a choice.
Universal basic income.
Universal basic income. I think it's going to be necessary.
So it means that unemployed people will be paid across the globe.
Yeah.
Because there is no job, machine, robot is taking over.
That's simply and I want to be clear that these are not things that I think that I wish would happen. These are simply things that I think probably will happen. And if my assessment is correct and they probably will happen, then we need to say, what are we going to do about it? And I think some kind of a universal basic income is going to be necessary. Now, the output of goods and services will be extremely high. So with automation, there will come abundance. There will be almost everything will get very cheap. I think I think we'll just end up doing universal basic income. It's going to be necessary. The harder challenge, much harder challenge, is how do people then have meaning? Like a lot of people, they derive their meaning from their employment. So if you don't have, if you're not needed, if there's not a need for your labor, how do you, what's the meaning? Do you have meaning? Do you feel useless? That's a much harder problem to deal with.
Now, at the end there, when he's talking about meaning and purpose in life, this is where the metaverse comes into play. They want to distract you by putting you into this, falsified world. They want to put you into this game and, oh, hey, look at everything around you is great. When in all actuality, you are getting fed universal basic income because AI has taken over our jobs, and AI is pretty much dominating the workforce. This is why I focus on why are they pushing the CBDCs? Why are CBDCs becoming a big topic? Because we can simply avoid CBDCs. We don't need a CBDC. Why are they pushing it? Well, let's actually look into a few things. So first off, around AI, we know that the BIS has been pushing AI heavily. Here we have the BIS Innovation Hub launches Project Raven to develop a solution to increase financial system cybersecurity and resilience using AI. Over here, a survey of U.S. households sheds light on consumers' uses of and attitudes towards generative AI. Almost half of households have used generative AI tools, but use of and knowledge about them is higher among certain groups. Interesting. So now they are starting to talk about AI heavily. And remember, this is the central bank of central banks. This is one of those organizations that really kind of pulls the strings. Now, talking more so about the universal basic income opportunity here, well, guess what? We know that this is becoming a big focus point. Now, this video from Peter St. Onge actually got community noted, and they said Canada is not implementing a universal basic income. One senator and one MP have bills that instruct the finance minister to develop a framework/report on UBI. Neither bill mentions a specific dollar amount nor directly implements UBI. Now, the thing more so about this is the fact that Canada is focusing on this. They want to start universal basic income. They want to bring this in. And we have Canada hits the loot the treasury stage, set to hand everybody $2,000 per month, whether they work or not. This will drive inflation. It will destroy the treasury, and it will convert millions of Canadian workers into permanent parasites on the remaining few who work. Now, I will say this, outside of this video, because this got posted on December 27th, we know for a fact that the CBDCs will or even could have limits on them. Listen close to this video, though. It's about 3 minutes and 20 seconds long.
Universal basic income is coming to Canada. Will the US be next? I've been warning of a UBI, Universal Basic Income, for a while now, since that is where we are in the fall of Rome sequence. Recently, Canada's left-wing Liberals proposed just such a scheme, dubbed the, quote, guaranteed livable basic income. Lest one think it's just the Liberals who've gone mad, Canada's Conservative Party deputy leader then spoke warmly of it, saying Conservatives should, quote, own it. So, in all likelihood, it's coming. First off, what is a UBI? The idea is to give everybody just enough to get by whether or not they work. A typical number might be $1,000 per month. Supporters claim people will still work, which is hilarious, more on that in a moment. And many conservatives, such as the deputy leader, have been suckered with promises that it will replace the existing welfare state. Which, of course, is a lie. New welfare schemes are often sold that way, including the EITC here in the US, which was sold as a negative income tax that would replace welfare as we know it. But of course, that never happened. The extra trillions just went on top because it turns out that handing free money is like salting a soup. It's easy to add, it's very, very hard to take away. Beyond the bait and switch, why is a UBI so bad? Partly because the cost is raid the treasury level, so perhaps $3 trillion per year in the US, but mostly because it would radically expand our growing army of permanently unemployed couchsurfing parasites who do little work beyond voting for more welfare. To see why, consider two similar phenomena today: unemployment benefits and pensions. A few years ago, the New York Times put out a major time use survey, finding that while full-time workers spend 5 hours a day at work, unemployed people on benefits spend just 30 minutes a day looking for work. So how do they spend the other 4.5 hours? Watching TV, napping, surfing the internet, playing games, and hanging out with their girlfriend. So that's a 90% drop in work. We've got similar numbers from retirement. Once Americans hit that magic 65 line, the Bureau of Labor Statistics tallied up the number of seniors working. That came out to 8% working full-time, 7% working part-time, which compares to 63% of the general population. So in that case, it's an 80% drop. Beyond the extortionate taxes on the few who still would work, the main victims would be the young, who will be bribed out of entry-level jobs, ushered into a life of quasi-poverty, doing nothing, having nothing, and complaining about it on TikTok. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained. Vote buying has been popular since at least the Roman Empire, who put the bread in bread and circuses, and it's driven the country to ruin since at least the Roman Empire. But the political calculus is irresistible. All those millions of juicy votes. Now, COVID was the test case in Canada and in many other countries, and the next recession, you can be sure they will push it hard here in America. As for long-suffering Canadians, it looks like it will get worse before it gets better. Okay, we'll be watching.
Now, regardless of the community notes, like I said, if we actually go and look at CBDC discussions, here's February 26th. So this is this year, and we have transition to CBDC could be disruptive without holding limits, finds Dutch central bank. Interesting. So they still want to put those holding limits on. Now, we do know that the ECB floated the idea of about 3,000 euros as a limit per month. Now, they did change a few things regarding that, but we still know that the ECB is still looking into this. Over here, we have CBDCs may require hard limits, Netherlands bank paper fines. Outside of this, we have CBDC holding limit, critical for monetary policy transmission, ECB paper. This is just recently on the 23rd of April. So when we look at this, right, like limitations are still critical for CBDCs. And it's all still focused on the idea of UBI. Now, going back to the whole idea of crypto, why do I think crypto is going to skyrocket in value? Well, it's because we have over here from April 18th, the Reserve Bank of New Zealand has recently initiated a public consultation to explore the creation of CBDC to limit crypto usage. That's right. They want to discourage the use of Bitcoin and other decentralized cryptocurrencies by allowing a CBDC. They want you on a CBDC, and that's where they really target crypto. Now, why do I think that they're going to target crypto beyond what, we see from the SEC, beyond all of the attacks on, self-custody? What's because of the Bitcoin targeting as well. Now, we've talked about XRP. Yeah, I do believe that Ripple and XRP were targeted for a major reason. They wanted you out of XRP. Regardless of how anyone is going to twist that, it's okay. We could speculate all day long. In my opinion, I do believe that Ripple is extremely high on the food chain as a major threat to the banks and also to the monopoly system. But I also believe, on the other hand, that Ripple is already working with the elites, and the best way that they are trying to get as many people out as possible is by making them wait as long as possible. The waiting game is much more painful than just, hey, let's shake them out by price action. Price action will shake a lot of people out, but what gets majority of the people out is just time. But we have here from Scott Melker, we have many Bitcoiners celebrated attacks on crypto from the US government, somehow not realizing that the same attacks would eventually come for Bitcoin, regardless of it being a commodity. The IRS, the FBI, the DOJ, the SEC have all attacked self-custody in the past few weeks. And 100%, as we look at decentralization, as we look at self-custody, guys, this is something that will continue to be targeted because of tax money, because they want control of this space. They don't want us to be in this space because their overall goal is still a CBDC. They still want us on the UBI, just like almost everyone else will be on it, right? Over here, Ryan Selkis. A second Biden term will lead to mass wealth confiscation and crypto seizures. I do think that it's not just Biden, though. I think that this is the government's plan. You got to remember that it doesn't matter red or blue. There's still a lot of agenda being pushed around by people that are much higher on the food chain than the president. Remember, the president is just a puppet at the end of the day. They aren't baiting and switching in an election year. They are telling you they're coming for your property, surveilling your every move, and also censoring your dissent. We have just got a call, another major Bitcoin company about to pull out of the USA. Wave of DOJ subpoenas inbound, going to be a full-blown war over self-custody. They will lose, but we will have to fight for our rights. Get ready. And yes, everyone is focused on this. Now, it all is happening at a time where the US banks are very, very weak. Why hundreds of US banks may be at risk of failure. This is why I say that fiat currencies are not a safe bet right now. This is why I'm looking at crypto. This is why I'm looking at gold. But even on the long-term span, I will continue to keep a very significant percentage of my net worth in gold, silver, and even crypto, because I do know that where we are headed in terms of finance is not going to be pretty for those out there that are stockpiling massive amounts of cash. Do I think that cash will be king yet again, similar to 2008? 100%. But I also think that we are starting to move significantly away from the fiat currency system towards a much more programmable and digital controlled system. And it all really starts with AI adoption, leading the way to UBI, leading the way for a CBDC. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys could definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, this has been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.